Today's story is about the painful and heartbreaking reality of this young man's life.
After finishing my lunch, I had just come from work, sweeping the streets. But what you saw there is not something that can really satisfy a person. It is one of those moments where you simply tell yourself, let me put something in my stomach for now. The other students saw me as someone unusual. To them, I was almost like a doll.
How did Patel go from being an ordinary young man to becoming a well-known figure?
I was at home alone, and hunger was eating me up. Honestly, it is something you cannot fully understand unless you have been hungry yourself. Entering the world of fame is one of the things I regret. It is something I did without really thinking deeply about it first.
Hardship does not care about your face, your height, where you come from, or the color of your skin. According to the names on his identity card, he is called Patel Krishina. His mother is Rwandan, and his father is a foreigner. By the life many would imagine for him, he should perhaps be sitting somewhere on the streets of Mumbai, drinking tea. But instead, we found him on the streets of Kanombe, sweeping, carrying heavy loads, doing whatever he can just to find something to eat and survive. Today, we are going deep into the story of a young man of foreign origin. It is a surprising and emotional story, because many people see him as a white man, as someone who must be well off, or someone who comes from money. But today, Patel is living a very difficult life. You are watching VLIX Africa. His name is Patel Krishina. Many of you may already know him as a star who appeared in films and took part in different interviews where he spoke openly about his extraordinary life. But today, that is not the main story. Today's story is about the painful and heartbreaking reality of this young man's life. A life where the world seems to have turned against him once again, forcing him to stop and start over. After once being known and celebrated, Patel is now living through difficult times. Today, he does hard physical labor, using his own hands just to survive and make a living.
After finishing my lunch, I had just come from work, sweeping the streets. And now, this is what my lunch usually looks like. A banana and a mandazi. I only cook in the evening when I get back home. In a short while, there's an old man I help at his boutique. I carry goods for him and deliver them to his customers. Or sometimes I go to buy stock for him.
Allow us to begin this story from the very beginning. Who really is Patel Krishina? Maybe you have heard about him somewhere else. Maybe you have seen him before. But here on VLIX Africa, we do things differently. This is a story we are going to tell from the roots. We will discover who this young man really is, where he was born, what happened to him, the surprising things about his life, the moments that shaped him, and the pain he is carrying today. What does he plan to do next? What dreams does he still have? And what plans does he have for his future?
My name is Krishna Patel. Those are the names written on my identity card. I was born in Uganda. I do not know the exact area, but what I know is that we lived in Kampala. As for the hospital where I was born, I honestly do not know. I was born like any other child, with both parents by my side. Later, they had my younger brother. And we were raised like other children. But after some time, everything changed. One of my parents passed away. My mother. I lost my mother when I was only 3 years old. My younger brother was about 1.5. I do not really remember the moments we shared because I was still too young. I was just a child. After my mother passed away, my father decided that we had to come to Rwanda. so that we could be cared for here. Because at that point, he was now the only parent left. And as a man raising young children on his own, maybe it was something he felt he could not manage. So we were sent to Rwanda while we were still very young. He supported us for about a year, and then he disappeared completely. My father had Indian nationality, while my mother was Rwandan. After that, people from my mother's side of the family stepped in and helped us. Since that time, up to this day, I have never heard from my father again. We did not have his address, and to be honest, we never really tried to look for him. Maybe the reason we never tried was because of the way we grew up. Life moved on, and somehow we learned to leave that part of our story behind. But the elderly woman who raised us, my mother's mother, our grandmother, she did try to find him. Yes, she would mention his names to other Indian people and even at the embassy. But they would tell her that those names were very common, that many people used them, so it was not easy to identify exactly who he was. No one from India ever came forward to help us. Not one person was able to do anything for us or offer us any support. When my father was still around, we were going to school. But after he left, it was almost as if our education came to a stop. Later, my mother's family helped us again, and we were able to go back to school. I studied in Kichukiro at Imena Rugamba. I went to about 3 different schools, including Apade, APE Rugunga, and Nyamata High School. The hardest thing for me in primary and secondary school was having a skin color that was different from everyone else's. The other students saw me as someone unusual. To them, I was almost like a doll. What shocked me most was how they would pull my hair just to see if I could feel pain. I have no memories of my father. We did not even have any photos of him. But for my mother, we do have her pictures. If there is one thing I would say to my father, if by chance he ever sees this, or if someone tells him about it, I would tell him to come and see his sons. We love him. If there is one thing I could say to my mother in heaven, it is that we have grown into men. And I would also tell her that we love her too. That is all. If my father ever came back and asked me for forgiveness, I would forgive him without any problem. We would forgive him.
How did Patel go from being an ordinary young man to becoming a well-known figure?
The way I started becoming known on social media was during the COVID-19 period. I was in Musanze when I met some people who were active on social media, including Cowboy, Gaheza, and Pionika. Pionika was the first person who ever interviewed me. The reason he wanted to interview me was because he was surprised to see someone who looked like me speaking so much Kinyarwanda. Entering the world of fame is one of the things I regret. It is something I did without really thinking deeply about it first. You start meeting new people, making new friends. But many of the friends I gained from that world were not useful to my life. They were the kind of people who could easily change the way you think and lead you in the wrong direction. Another thing is that you start losing the simple life you used to have. If you used to take the bus, you no longer feel free to take it. If you were the kind of person who could walk casually on the street, you stop doing that. Even when you are struggling, you feel like you cannot simply run to a friend for help the way you used to. When you enter that world of social media, people immediately assume that you are rich, that you have made money. And one of the things I regret is going from channel to channel, talking about my life and sharing things like that. What it damaged in my life is what I mentioned earlier. You stop being the person you are supposed to be. You are forced to live another kind of life, just so people can look at you and believe that you are doing well, even when deep inside, you are not okay. That is how everything started to change. I found myself doing street cleaning work, sweeping the roads just to survive. And like I told you, a big part of what led me there was the bad friends I had around me. These are the kind of people who see you as a star and expect you to always be out, always moving around, always involved in things. You end up spending the little money you have on things that bring nothing back. Slowly, everything disappears, and nothing is coming in. So sometimes, when you live that kind of life, you realize that the friends you thought loved you only stay when things are going well. Once you become poor, they leave. That is when I told myself, instead of continuing to sit there, helpless and ashamed, it would be better for me to go out and look for money myself, so that life could continue, is how I found myself on the streets.
This young man once lived the life of a star. So where did the idea come from? What pushed him to make the decision to do a job that many people look down on? A job some would even call humiliating.
I was at home alone, and hunger was eating me up. Honestly, it is something you cannot fully understand unless you have been hungry yourself. No, some people actually respect it. They say, instead of stealing, it is better to work. Because as long as a person has hands, legs, and a mind, and as long as you still have strength, you have to use them to work. You keep pushing until better days come again. The small jobs I do are mainly three. I sweep the streets, help people carry goods, and take on small laundry jobs for others. At least I do have a place to stay.
When midday comes, many people rush to restaurants to have their lunch. But in Kanombe, residents are often surprised to see the man they call the white man rushing into a small boutique, buying mandazi and bananas, then sitting nearby under the shade. That is where he eats quietly, just enough to silence his hunger.
You found me during lunch, while I was eating. But what you saw there is not something that can really satisfy a person. It is one of those moments where you simply tell yourself, let me put something in my stomach for now. I will eat properly in the evening. That is how I managed to push through the day.
After eating just enough to get through the day, he rests for only a few minutes. Then, he heads straight to his second job. There is an elderly man who owns a small boutique, and Patel helps him deliver goods to customers. Sometimes, he carries the items to their homes, and when needed, he even goes to buy stock for the shop.
When customers come to buy from him and they are not able to carry the goods themselves, I help carry them. After that, he gives me a small amount of money. When I talk to my younger brother and tell him about the life I'm living, he encourages me. He tells me, it is not over yet, just keep going. One day, things will work out. For me and my younger brother, the people we consider our family are my mother's side of the family. They are our family, and they love us. For me, Patel, my dreams are not over. My dreams are still alive. And I am still putting in the effort to reach them. As long as I am still alive, I believe it is not impossible.
Although his skin color may make him look different, his heart and his thoughts belong to Rwanda. Even though his roots trace back to India, Patel says Rwanda is his country and he loves it deeply. From time to time, he even surprises us by sharing short Kinyarwanda proverbs.
There is a saying in Kinyarwanda, "A person without wisdom praises himself." There is also another one that says, "He who does not listen to his father and mother will end up listening to prison." I'm not even sure if that is exactly how it goes, but there is another proverb people say, maybe someone created it, that says, "No rainstorm lasts forever without passing." The two kings of Rwanda that I know are Kigeli, and who was the other one again? Yes, Kirima Rujugira. The two old school artists I know are Miss Chanel and Rafiki Choga Star. The things I love about India. I love their films. And I love their music. Actually, let me mention just two. The Indian film I really loved is called Bahubali. And the Indian song I loved is that Krishna song. I think it is called Kuch Na Kaho. I do not know any words in Hindi. The only word I know is Namaste. To me, Namaste means, how are you? As for going to India, I do not have that goal. I have no plans or desire to go to India. When I compare Rwanda and India and place them on a scale, I personally value Rwanda more because Rwanda is the country that raised me. The three things I love about Rwanda. First, I love the people. I love the security and I love the cleanliness. What I love most about Rwandans is that they have good hearts and they love people.
They say we love motorcycle taxi riders because they always have stories to tell. They meet so many people, hear so many things, and sometimes even they get surprised. One day, a moto rider was left completely shocked when Patel said these words to him.
The time I insulted someone and they were shocked, it was a moto rider who had overcharged me. I immediately insulted him.
What exactly did you say to him?
I cannot say it. No, I cannot say it. I cannot tell you what I said to him, but I insulted him badly. I used a very harsh insult. He laughed so much. He was surprised, and in the end, he agreed to take me without overcharging me. The dream I had was to play football, but as life went on, I grew up. And little by little, that dream started to fade. Before, I used to play football, and I loved it deeply. Anyone who knew me, whether we studied together in primary or secondary school, knew that I was the kind of person people believed could become a great football player. The plan I have to move from one level of life to another is to work hard. Another thing is to pray to God, and also to expand my way of thinking, so that when I finally leave the situation I am in now and move into a better one, I will become a strong and determined man in everything I choose to do. The plan I have, I also want to become a businessman.